Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bristol Motor Speedway for round 6 of the VRS Truck Series here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Here for the Weather Guard Truck Series truck race, once again here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator here tonight for this 250 laps at the last great Coliseum. Looking back at practice, we have about 3 or so minutes of practice. We see Blake Roebuck fastest in practice right here. And speaking of Blake, go ahead and take a look at your standings here for the VRS Truck Series, brought to you by CK Designs. Thank you to Chase Crawl over at CK Designs for the points graphic. Blake Roebuck up one spot in your points with Kyle Sosnowski dropping down after that. Not the race he wanted there at Martinsville. Munatzi Major in the P3, Chris Davis in P4, Jacob Quill P5, Matthew Campbell P6, Jarrett Ferreira P7, and Patrick McPeak around at your top 8, and you see the rest of everybody up to the top 16 right there. You see Ryan Taft back there, P16, last truck in points right now, at least for being eligibility for the playoffs. But Blake Roebuck, P1 in practice. Jarrett Ferreira, speaking of him, he's going to be P2 in your practice. And yeah, Bristol, a very unique track here. I mean, we looked at Martinsville last week where, you know, a lot of people are rubbing and beating and banging. We're coming back to another short track, but kind of different in really every way towards Martinsville. You see that high banking up here that Bristol has up in the corners versus Martinsville. That's a flat. Like we call it the paper clip for a reason, is because it's a flat, short oval that you can really beat and bang here. But here at Bristol, you see this huge high banking here, and it really can put on for some interesting racing and some different racing compared to Martinsville. You can use the top, you can use the bottom, you can really use up the track really the way you want to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. New face to the VRS Trucks Series. We see Hudson Stanger in that number 42. He's actually P6 in practice. It's number 42 machine at TF56 Designs Silverado. A really neat looking truck. We'll go back to some trucks on track here. Noah Nicholson in the number 71. That's that Lucky 7 Motorsports machine. And P9 in practice. So really good. It looks like really good run here right now. Just people trying to get laps in. But we see this at all the short tracks. Just people pushing too hard in practice, try to get everything out. And there's always a lot of wrecking here during the practice. See Dominic Lee back from his suspension. Right now P5 in practice on number 19 machine. See him park it here, but just under a minute left. And we're probably going to start to see some guys just at least try to get some laps under their belt. John Connor and this number 97 machine. A really shiny spec map on that truck. Right now P21, just outside the top 20 in here. So maybe he needs to do a little work along with that truck beforehand. Obviously, he'll only have about 20 seconds left in practice, so whatever he's got, he's probably going to have to stick with. That truck looks a little loose and everything else. That's a big thing you have to talk about with Bristol too, is the setup. But this open set is going to be very valuable, and it's going to be very setup dependent of who can be up there towards the front, who can handle, you know, maybe a truck that doesn't drive very well, like this number 97 right here. That practice completing. And Blake Roebuck, Jared Ferreira, top 2 in practice, Adam Smith, and Zachary Dravino, you fast forward at the end of practice here at Bristol. As we get ready to start qualifying. You see it get a little darker right here. I think it will be a night, kind of evening to night transition, I believe, here for the race. But let's go ahead and get someone out here. Xander Short back here in the VRS Truck Series, making his couple of allowed starts. You see him warming up the tires, trying to get these things as warm as they can He's gonna actually park that truck. Let's try to find someone else. Let's go on board with Blake Roebuck, our points leader. Jim really running the top here. Trying to get as much of a run off the corner as he can. And Blake. What kind of lap time is that? It's a 14.4 right now. That's your pull for tonight's race. Blake Roebuck with that 14.41. Now Adam Smith is going to knock him off with a 14.413. Just a couple thousandths off. Xander Short now on track. Xander P3, 14.49. Jonathan, no, not on track yet. Matthew Fastnot out here on track, getting ready to taking his lap. Going under 3 and 4. Matthew with a 14.5. That will be good enough for P6. Good lap by that number 3 machine. Dominic Lee. Coming back from his suspension from Martinsville. Gonna come in here and set his lap here. Dominic Lee. 14.6. I'll bump him up to P15. Talking about Jared Pereira up there in the points. Setting his lap. Coming into 3 and 4. .4, good lap for the number 6. Up to P5. Jonathan Ledger making his lap in that number 28 machine. Jonathan, one of those open cars who needs to qualify pretty well. 14.9. That's good enough for P26. See if that can keep him in the show. Michael Deitch making his lap in that 51. What is that, a HendrickCars.com machine? It is. Michael Deitch, 14.85. Good enough for P27. Jonathan Ledger improves to a top 23 spot. Keenan Kimber out on track. Just completing his lap, 14.7. I think that, right now, no one else on track right now. We have Michael Deitch still out here, but everybody else out on, no one else out on track. So, with just a little bit of time left, I mean, we still have a minute left in qualifying. You figured some people would come out and try to run some laps around here or something. Right now, Aaron Longworth, Keenan Kimber, Jay Salmon, and Nim Silva are the only trucks that have not decided to set a lap. And we do have more than 36 trucks, so some of these guys will get bumped out. I think right now, Jim Mott and Zach Johnson going to be the two to bump out, because I believe 36 qualify in, and right now we have 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So I think the bottom 2 qualifiers out of these open cars will not make it in, I believe. We'll have to see. No Gavin Austin in the booth tonight. Unsure of where he is, but he's usually the guy to tell us who's in and who's out. But right now, it seems that Jim Mott and Zach Johnson going to be the first 2 out for this race at Bristol. We have a couple more stuff. We do have a new race picks tab, so we'll go through ahead and do this. And I think my pick, I mean, you got to give it to him. Blake Roebuck in that number 30. It's going to be my pick to win this race. He's on a good roll, qualified in the top 10, in the top 5 at that. So give me that number 30 to maybe go back there and steal a win away from here. We get ready to go green here, and we're gonna get your starting lineup presented by HVTV up here. But once again, waiting on everybody to get in their trucks. Remember, everybody has their own tools in the shed to maybe adjust the setup to maybe make it looser, tighter, adjust the steering ratio, adjust the brake bias, everything. They got a lot of tools in the simulator that can help them adjust the truck to make them go faster. So while we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and get your track analysis here. 250 laps, 65 laps is for stage 1, 130 for stage 2. Pit road speed lap is 35 miles an hour, and I would say about a 120 to 140 lap run for fuel. And then obviously your track facts brought to you by Delta Designs. Go check him out over at Delta Eagle Designs over on X. Thank you for all the work you do here for HVTV and Drace. But you see this track over in Bristol, Tennessee, with just a little over half a mile in length. We talked about it early in the pre-show, 48 and 28 degrees in the banking, depending on where you are, and then obviously just a little bit in the straights. As we get ready to go, let's go ahead and get down to the pit road and get your starting lineup here, presented by HVTV on their way. See Zachary Trevino in the number 77, so I guess he is filling in for Jacob Quill in that number 77 machine. So you might see him actually go to the rear as a replacement driver. I'm not sure how early they have to be in there to do that. Obviously they can have some fill-in drivers, but you see that number 77 sitting on the pole once again. Not a uncommon sight here in the VRS Truck Series. But Zachary Trevino, your pole sitter. Jarrett Ferreira gonna round that row 2. Adam Smith, Michael Sellers in that number 240 machine, that Major's Garage machine, rounding out row 2. Blake Roebuck in P5 with Dominic Lee going to round out row 3 in that number 6 position. Xander Short, one of those open drivers, going to take one advantage of one of these 5 starts that he's allowed to do. He's going to start P7 with Matthew Fastnot, P8. P9, Noah Hunt with Hudson's Sangster, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, going to round out row 5, newcomer to the VRS Truck Series. Carl Field and John Connor going to round out 11th and 12th. 13th, Richard Bunkley with Caleb Begg going to round out row 7. P15, Noah Hamilton, one of those open drivers. And Lucas Edwards in that number 87 machine going to round out row 8. Row 9 is going to be Zach Hummel in that number 31 machine with Noah Nicholson. Row 10, Richard Myers with Caleb Sheets in that number 26 machine. Tyler Bellinger with Patrick McPeak, going to round out row 11. Row 12, Jonathan Ledger and Hank Moore, that number 980 machine. Mason Hoffner with Michael Deitch, going to round out row 13. Corey Mott, Joe Gibbons, row 14. Zach Johnson and Hayden James, going to be 29th and 30th. 34th, Jeremy T-Bon and Jim Mott. See, Ryan Taft going to be 33rd, 34th with Austin Runkle on the outside of that row. Derek Fulton, P35. Rodney Roberts going to be that P36 driver. And it shows him in a 19. We know he's not the 19. Dominic Lee is in there, so apologies for that. Nim Silva, Keenan Kimber, Aaron Longworth, and Jay Salmon. So I believe Jay and Jim are not racing, but we'll have to see whether that has to go here. But we do see lights off on the pace truck. Remember, 250 laps, so long race. We saw this at Martinsville. Hopefully these drivers can, keep some composure, not wreck. It was, undoubtedly a caution fest last week. Hopefully we can have some cleaner racing tonight. But you do see the lights on the pace truck off. You will see him pull down here, coming into turn 3 and 4, and we will be going green for 200 laps, not 250. My apologies. Here at Bristol. I'm giving the wrong info. Hopefully the stages are correct. Pace car gonna take the hard left turn. We're gonna hand this race over to Barney. And we're green here from Bristol. Zachary Javina already out to a little bit of a lead here. Almost half a second he's put on the number 6 of Jarrett Ferreira, but all single file throughout the top 7. First battle is back there. Xander Short trying to make the inside work, where you see the 3 of Faston, I believe, trying to make the top work. You're going to see the 45 of Noah Hunt also tried to make that top side work, and try to follow that number 3 through. And we have a caution already. Like maybe some wrecking in the back. We'll see if we can grab where that was. We'll look on board with your HVTV replay. See if we can grab one of these drivers. We see someone into the inside wall there through that blimp cam. We're trying to see if we can go on board with the driver. Fortunately, the sim not wanting to connect to a driver here, so we do see Tyler Bellinger 1 lap down. We'll see if maybe we can find him. Looks like he's already slow on track. Maybe he saw what went on throughout here. Looks like no, this was ahead of Tyler. Well, regardless, caution out here on lap now going to be 5. You already see some movers throughout the field. Dominic Lee up 1 spot from that little 1 lap stint. It says Dominic in the 190 machine. I guess there are 219 machines. I'm not sure how that works with the league stuff, but we talked about here in the pre-race. So there was a change that happened here in the VRS Trucks Series, and basically in the Crown Jewel community as the server with the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, the ARCA Series, and here also the VRS Series. They basically did a full wipe, and they implemented some new rules throughout the league with some ironing caps and some other rules that just need to be put in place to make the league run better. So no suspensions, even though we saw that there was a lot of wrecking there at Martinsville. I think Martinsville had a big doing in what was going on there. But so no EOLs, no suspensions. Granted that there were a lot of wrecking and stuff, but basically when they remade the rules, they put everybody back down to 0 with those incident points, so no one got penalized for anything that happened at Martinsville, unless maybe there was some intentional, anything like that. So maybe some beef that happened. We know we had some beef between, I think it was the 17 and the Lucky 7 machines. So besides that, everybody cleaning green here. But once again, Zachary Javino going to lead us back to green here at Bristol. A pretty good jump by the 77. And once again, caution. See some slow drivers again. We see the 51. It looks like turned around. Michael Deitch. Looks like this happened in front of Michael. That's the number 2. That's Xander Short. It's not common to see him. Pretty uncommon to see him. He caught him in 7. Looks like the number 3. That's Fastnot getting the back of the number 2. And you see him just try to get it down the track, but unfortunately, that's going to bring out a caution regardless. I mean, he's technically on the racing surface and stopped backwards, and then you just see a chain reaction back there. You see the 51 Looks like make some contact with another driver. Just trying to check up for the wreck. Looks like that's the 76. And along for the ride they go as well. A second caution out here on lap 10. And Zachary Givino just going to keep gaining these lap lead bonuses for Jacob Crow. I mean, look at this. Led 9 out of the 11 laps. Obviously, I presume Jarrett maybe got him maybe at the line a couple times, maybe going side by side, but led every lap but one. So, I mean, this is exactly what we were used to seeing in this number 77 truck, whether it's, you know, Zachary this race or Jacob Quill and the other ones. But, you know, the 77 has always been dominant throughout the season. With all these going up, not really a lot of big movers, but we do have some people up a little bit. Richard Bunkley, 01, has made his way up into the top 10, up 3 spots. Also, up 3 spots, Caleb Sheets at number 26. Good to see Caleb back here in the Truck Series. Patrick McPeak up 4 spots, and also Zach Johnson. If you look down further down the charts, they're starting to make their way up to the field. Zach up 8 spots. As we see the choose cone, we see the 7 pick the inside, 6 outside, 240 inside, and the 21 of Adam Smith. He's going to round out your fast 4. And once again, pace cars down pit road, and the 6 and the 77 in front row are going to lead us back to green. Another really good jump by the 77. And now side by side back here for the P3 spot. That's the 240 and the 21. 21's going to get a run off the top, clear for that P3 spot. Here comes Dominic Lee. And make the pass for P5 as you see now Blake Roebuck start to get ran down by the number 42. And that's the 3 of Faston. Faston just got caught up in that last wreck. But already up here into the top 10. Get some smoke. It's still side by side out here, right inside the top 10. Ooh, you see the 45 into the ball there. Noah Hunt trying to make the top work. And caution out one more time. As we see a driver backwards. See if we can find that. That's the 33 machine of Zach Johnson. So let's see if we can get a replay of what happened between him and... Looks like there was another driver caught up in that. See Zach just loose off the top. Gonna hook himself down the track. And we lose him here. And you see that's the 42, another 42 machine. Gonna pile into that number 33 and long for the ride, it looks like they were, and it looks like they towed their machines. Looks like pretty decent damage. With the caution number 3 on lap 18, we did get a little bit of a run there, a little bit longer than we had those first couple of runs. So, but granted, like to see a green flag run play out here. Now, I'm unsure when these stages are going to be, if I'm being completely transparent to everybody at home. Obviously, I was told that there's going to be 250 laps, and that's why it was posted that way in the race analysis brought to you by Delta Eagle Designs. But I would assume, I'm just going to go by my guns and say that it's still going to be on, what was that, lap 65 and 130. But we will see. If there's anybody in chat that could let us know, maybe ask an admin, I can maybe look into getting that info for us. You see several drivers down pit road. We already have some drivers lapped down. Nim Silva, Xander Short a lap down. See Jamie T-Bond 2 laps down, and Zach Johnson 3 laps down. You see Aaron Longworth 4 laps down. And it looks like he's taking that car to the garage. Called it a night. We're talking about that. We missed the choose cone. 77 inside, 6 outside. You see the 21 pick the bottom this time, and the 240 on the outside. You see at number 30, our race pick. Gonna be third on that top. You see lights back onto the pace truck, onto the pace car. My apologies. Probably trying to sort out some things. And you see the lights finally come on here at Bristol. I'm glad that iRacing took the initiative to come back. There was some visual glitches with the new Sky update and with the new lighting model and everything else. We did have some issues prior to this update with the lights not turning on in time and it making it really difficult to show you guys a good show, and to where like us broadcasters would have to, actively, try to adjust the exposure and stuff as we were going. But lights are back off on the pace car. You're going to see the 77 and the 6 once again front row. It's a Chevy Toyota front row. Going to lead us back to green. Going to the Geico restart zone. We're green once again here at Bristol. Another decent jump by the 77. You already see this front 3 getting single file. See them getting racy back here inside and outside the top 10. You see some drivers getting into the wall. Oh, you see the 3 around. We saw that one on live TV as wow, a big one. Thinking a different angle of what happened here. It looks like maybe the 3 just got a little upset out of the corner. And unfortunately, on these restarts, there's just not a lot of time and space and reaction time to check up for these wrecks. Yeah, you see the 3 actually get a little bit of a shove from the 86 of Ryan Taft. And just nowhere to go for a lot of these trucks up here. You see the 4, the 61, the 26. Just along for the ride. You see the 17, it looks like. Nowhere to go. See the 65 of Keenan Kimber up there. Parked backwards. A lot of these guys just have to literally stop on the track to not get involved in there. But 4th caution on lap 25. I mean, this is kind of short track racing, if you ask me. Obviously, we would not like to see the cautions. You see the 2 that have getting his lap back, the lucky dog. Andy Short getting his lap back. But, I mean, we saw this last week at Martinsville. And, I mean, another short track. We saw, some guys just not being able to get off of each other and, causing these wrecks, not being able to judge where people are going to lift or let off or brake or whatever. I know in these trucks you're not really braking that much. You're just kind of lifting because the banking here, you can just carry so much momentum. You look at, like, for instance, look at Alex Bowman yesterday in the Cup race was blowing up and was still, he was very much off the pace, but was still being able to limp it around by just lifting and coasting around the track just because of how much momentum Bristol has with the banking. You can literally lift and just let the momentum carry you around the track. So, but we saw this at Martinsville, as I said. Guys just all up on top of each other, and unfortunately not being able to judge, like, maybe when you can be aggressive and shove and do everything else. But I see. I don't know if looks like they did take off the choose cone, maybe. I'm not seeing drivers choose. And that's probably my fault. I did not get enough time to read through all of the new updates and rules and stuff like that. I did see that they canceled all the incident points, and now that there's new an iRating cap of, I think it's 4750 for the whole Crown Jewel community. So if I believe right, you guys can correct me in chat if I got that wrong. But once again, 77-6 front row. Or green once again. Good jump by the 77. But we see a battle for the P3 spot. That's the 240 and the 21 side by side going into 2, 3, and 4. 240 is going to get the run off the top and clear for that P3 spot. .42 making a run and going to get side by side with the 30 of Roebuck. You're starting to see this number 42 move his way up through the field here. Up 5 spots already. Showing a lot of speed. This Hudson kid is quick. I mean, his debut here in the VRS Trucks Series. Trying to make a name for himself. We're starting to see this, basically this top 5 start to break away from the rest of the field. You see Blake a little bit off this front pack. They're starting to get ran down by the 97 of John Connor. Remember, we mentioned John not looking the greatest here in practice. Looked like that truck was not handling the way we wanted to, but looks like made some key adjustments to this truck. And look at this, drove his way up into the top 10, up 5 spots up to this P7 position. You see the 42. He's really using that outer line, and you have to think now. You know, we know the top does kind of use your stuff up a little bit more. So how much more are you willing to, you know, push to get up there before you're content just sitting and riding and saving stuff? Obviously, we would like to see a green flag run here, and it looks like we might just get one. Hopefully, I don't jinx that, but we also have that stage break coming up that these guys have to kind of be aggressive to get to, right? Everybody's starting to get single file, trying to find their rhythm. Yeah, everybody's single file now, as I say that. A good battle for, oh my god, lord, here comes the lap traffic. The 07's going to get turned around. Caution will come out for that. We missed, we had just caught this. Leaders catching lap traffic. And there's not a lot of room at Bristol to maneuver through some of this traffic. You see your race leaders here of the 77 of Zachary Javino and the 6 of Jarrett get around the 07 just fine. You see the 07, super loose off the corner, but here we go. You see side by side, 2x2, catching a lap car. I mean, it's just a really tough place to be. You see the 07 not really giving a lot of room to that Majors Garage machine. And around he's going to go, you're going to see the 96, oh man, of Caleb Begg. No, that's the 98 is Caleb Begg, my apologies. 96 of Nim Silva in the back of him. Nim already, 2 laps down. Definitely didn't want to see that, but that's just a racing deal, man. I mean, when you catch lap traffic, sometimes you just catch them in the worst spots, and you can't really lift in some of those situations. You see the 07 taking that Toyota down pit road. Obviously, you saw a lot of rear end damage. We can probably look at it from our far chase cam. Yeah, you see that rear end all dimpled up and all messed up. And here, from racing a couple officials here in the truck, that rear end damage just really kills the handling and stuff like that. I mean, it really makes the truck slide around and not handle very well, especially here at Bristol. Let's go ahead and talk about your race weather here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 73 degrees, so not too hot, not too cold, with a little bit of wind, with clear clouds. So nice, beautiful night here at Bristol Motor Speedway. A lap 40. Once again, you see the lights off on the pace truck. Lap 41 going to lap 42. You still see the top two stay the same, and we're green once again. Side by side for the looking for the third position. Not going to get it. I think we're already starting to catch some lap traffic. Is this the 07 once again upset? He's going to kill the inside wall there, but keep it off the track. We're going to stay green, and no, a caution out. Maybe for a different incident. I see no other damage. It's got to be for this 07. And we saw it right there live on TV. I don't know if he was maybe just trying to get out of the way of the leaders and just lost it, or what happened here. But go back and take a look. You just see the 07. Obviously, we talked about with that rear end damage, it's going to really affect the rears of this truck. And see the 07 take a slide and impact the inside wall. And, oh, that's probably what caused it right there, is him backing up the track. And triggering that. Remember, the iRacing calls these cautions, I believe. So, you know, with the Crown Jewel community as big as it is, sometimes it's hard for all the series they run in to get race controls for every single race. And it looked like looks like the definition of an iRacing caution. He just barely came back up on track, and that's going to trigger it every time. Take a look at some of your biggest movers. Patrick, big peak up 10 spots. You saw the 22nd up 10 spots in that 12th position. See Zach Hummel in this number 31, up 7 spots. We also see some of your big losers. Zach Dominic Lee down 8. And you see some of these guys. Matthew Passnot all the way down here. Looks like maybe he has a penalty. He's down 19 spots back there in that 27th position after getting caught up in a couple of wrecks. But still a good looking truck. You see that cubed graphics on the back there. Key partner for the VRS Truck Series and just the Crown Jewel community in general. A really nice looking 3 machine. We are 1 to green here. You see the 42. I mean, really showing some potential here, some pace, up 7 spots. He's gonna start right there on the second row on the bottom. But once again, 77 and 6 gonna lead us to green once again, going into lap 48. Another pretty decent start for the 77. So I'm battling back here for the P5 position. The 240 and the 97. Get the 97, get into the wall a little bit. You see Bunkley starting to make his way up to the field here. Saw him blink in and out, but looking pretty racy tonight in that 01 machine. You're going to still see this battle for the P5 position. You see John Connage trying to get away here on the top. And oh, you see the 61 around in the back. Patrick McPeak goes for a spin. We can find this truck. Timing and scoring is trying to get away from me. And there's that number 61 machine. We'll go back and look at the HVTV replay. See what transpired between the 61. Damn, grabbed the wall there, going into 3 and 4. Yeah, looks like the 4. I don't know if he thought he was clear or what, but gets up into the 61. 61 gonna come back up the track. Here comes the 71 of Noah Nicholson, the 26 of Caleb Sheets. I mean, nowhere to go for some of these guys. You see the 5 basically drift around this to avoid any contact. Really good avoidance from that driver, but really nothing that 61 did wrong. Just Patrick just kind of got used up and got wrecked. So definitely wouldn't be happy if I was that driver. But I mean, once again, that's Bristol. You're gonna see that happen a ton. Now, lap 53, I think we're up to our 7th caution. So we did have a little bit of a green flag run there. I think 10 laps. So I know that these drivers can do it. I just feel like these restarts, when you restart, it kind of just resets everybody's brains, and it makes people just want to be that more aggressive. And that's exactly what you don't want. Is you want people to get into a rhythm. You want people to try to go green, right? Obviously, that's the goal for the race, is to try to get some long green flag runs and see who can drive up through the field. We did see that the 6 machine of who was sitting in the P2 spot come down Perry Road. So Jarrett decides to come down, take a set of tires, and now he's going to start back here in the 22nd spot. So he goes from 2nd all the way down to 22nd. So 1 pit stop, and he loses 20 spots. Lights are out on the pace car once again, which means we are 1 to green. We'll be going green this time. This car's gonna hook the hard left turn, and now a new person in 2nd. That's a 42 as we're green once again. Another great jump by the 77, and now you see the 42 clear for the P2 spot. And let's see what the 42 can do. I think he's got, looks like he's got some pace underneath that truck. Let's see if he can go down and run down your race leader and maybe give him a run for his money. But right now, a really good battle for the P3 position. That's the 21 trying to look underneath the 97 of John Connor. Not going to make it work, as he's going to start to get a look from the 240 of Michael Sellers. And it is just so hard here in the sim to really make the bottom work, when you can just really rip the wall here in the sim and really get a lot of pace out of these trucks, especially with how, you know, much downforce is in these trucks. It's so easy to just kind of rip the wall, get around someone, and you're just kind of a sit and duck on the bottom. You saw Adam start P3 all the way back down to now that piece looking to be P6 if this 01 can get around. Oh, you see the 01 in the wall, send him once again side by side for the P5 spot. And man, it's got to be difficult for that 21 to race around a driver that blinks like that. But you see he's going to let the 01 go, but I'll get you later. Zach Hummel in the P7 spot, up 10 positions. He's kind of sitting around right now trying to just find where he wants to run. You see basically the top 8, all single file, trying to just get into a rhythm, trying to find the pace and try to run down your race leader. You see the race leader catching lap traffic. That's the 71 of Noah Nicholson. Gonna let the leaders by. I mean, it's got to be, it has to be scary as a lap car, trying to let these guys go by when they're that much quicker. But here comes the 42 as the 77 is loose. And here comes the 42 on the bottom. He's going to take the lead away. Wow, a huge slide out of the 77. Just a mistake from Zachary Givino. I mean, and look at that. He's already lost almost half a second to that 42 machine. Hudson is on rails right now and starting to pull away. And caution's out for your stage on lap 65. So newcomer to the VRS Trucks Series, Hudson Stingster, my apologies, gonna take stage 1. You see the one of Corey Mott staying on the lead lap. That's good for him. Actually, no. He is 25 laps down, so at least staying 25 laps down, I guess. Not going a lap down to your race leaders. But I imagine we'll see basically everybody that's on the lead lap come down and pit. We have seen some guys come down and pit earlier, but not enough to where it affect anything. I think maybe the only person who would consider staying out is maybe the 6 of Jarrett. Looks like Derek Fulton came in about 25 laps ago. But you see him come down pit road as well. This is what they call single pit road, I think is what they call. There's dual pit road and single pit road. So for this series, they decided they wanted to do single pit road, and basically it doesn't matter where your pit stall is. Obviously, pit road is all around the track here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and you can turn it on to where you only have to pit where your pit stall is. So let's say your pit stall is out of 3 and 4, you can go down and pit there if it's dual. But the admins decided, oh man, good race off pit road. But the admins decided, hey, I want to make it where you have to go down, and it doesn't matter where you are. You have to drive all the way around pit road, which is ultimately a really good gamble. It changes the way things go when it comes to pitting, right? Because you have to go all the way around, pit road at 35 miles an hour. So instead of maybe going probably 2-3 laps down, you're probably going to go 4 or 5, just having to run around there at 35 miles an hour. So if we do go green, you're going to start to see some strategy when it comes to that. Now, speaking of strategy, you see some guys staying out here. John Connor still has 70 laps on those tires, but decided he wants the track position. He's going to stay out there. And obviously Jarrett came down and pitted 16 laps ago, as well as Mason Hoffner, one of those open drivers. And they're going to be your top 3 on the restart to start stage 2. Race car down pit road. And now new front row, Chevy Ford, leading us to start stage 2. Pretty decent restart with 70 lap old tires, despite compared to some of these other people. You see, ooh, they're getting pretty racy back there. And you're starting to see those guys take advantage as caution is out. See the 26, that's Caleb Sheets around. A tough break for Caleb in that Braves machine. We can go back to the HVTV replay. See what happened here to this number 26. See, oh man, I think he just loses it on his own, and he does. Just drives it in a little bit too deep into the corner, and the back end's going to step around. You see the 51 get tagged by the 2 of Xander Short. And good for Caleb to kind of get it off the track here. You know, you saw him trying to save it, walk it up the track, and then you saw he was going up the track and decided just to spin it down. So really selfless move right there to try to keep the field safe, and honestly to keep himself safe, because, you know, the longer you're out up there stopped on the track, you know, the more in danger you put yourself at, you know, tearing up your truck or getting hit and stuff. With Bristol, it's so, the corners are so blind that unless you know there's a wreck, you'd probably never know until it's already too late and you're driving through another truck. So good for Caleb to get that truck, you know, down there on the apron and the safest place possible. Obviously, Bristol's not a big place, so good for him to get it at least in the safest spot possible to not only keep himself in the race, but also keep others. Look at that chat. Austin Runkle right now sitting here in 17th place. Up 17 positions, so he's doing something right. Look at this. Lowest of 17th. Lowest of 37th, actually. But up to the 17th spot. So, Austin Runkle making his way up through the field here in that Reaper machine. You see lots of trucks down pit road in that 4-shot. You see them trying to exit pit road. You're going to see the 71. I think there's no way he didn't speed. Noah Nicholson trying to beat out pit road. And he does have a black flag. I asked you for speeding down pit road. Aiden James also with a penalty. Another Lucky 7 machine. Not a good day for that Lucky 7 Motorsports organization. Besides, you know, the 77 of Trevino. He's been up here in the top 3 all race. But besides that, every one of those other tracks have gotten caught up in something. Once again, John Connor, Jarrett Ferreira going to lead us back to green. We're green right here with 77 to go. Oh! A big mistake or something back here. I think the 01 of Bunkley spun the tires. We're trying to grab a hold of him. And oh, I think we got a spinner potentially. Yes, we do. Caution back out. Thought I saw someone. Yeah, a huge wreck back here. I can't tell who that is. Is that the Ford machine? That is the Ford machine of... So we still have them wrecking back there. And they stopped back there on the track. I'm trying to find who that 4 car is because they are not the 4 in live timing and scoring. As we see a car going backwards, but let's try to dissect this wreck out as we go back to the HVTV replay. We'll just try to look at a wreck further back here. Let's take a look at the 93 if we can find him. Bellinger is... Oh, let's take a look at Bellinger here. It looks like the 07 probably has a good view of this, actually. Not really. I cannot really find anybody with a good view of this wreck. I just see nowhere to go for all these drivers. They're gonna pile it in. And a huge crash here on lap 76. And that's actually the leaders. Let's go back and look at that. That's the 77. Those guys have went back and caught back up to this wreck. And you see some of your race leaders. I think that's John Connor driving to the wreck here. I think he just expected all these guys to be, you know, towed or off the track or something. You're going to see John Connor get some contact. You see the 6, oh my lord, the 240. These are your race leaders just coming up here, not knowing that the caution is still out and that these guys are still wrecked. You see the 240 get used up by the 45, and man, calamity here during this caution. But like that, we already see the lights on a pace car already off. You see everybody else, for the most part, stay out. You see John Connor with a little dimple on the front end. He said, I'm still going to stay out here. The truck drives fine. I'm going to try to take my chances here. But you see Blake Roebuck, our race pick, up here to the P4 spot. I think this is as highest as he's been all race. We'll look for that number 30 to maybe make some moves to get up to the field. Also take a look Make sure to look at this Hudson kid. He's shown some speed throughout the whole race, but we're green once again here. The jump by the front two. They're going to get out single file. It's caution out once again. I think Matthew Fastnot once again caught up in something. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, it looks like maybe Matthew just lost it on his own. Exactly what happened. He's gonna pop that inside wall. And that'll do it. That's definitely a caution. So really tough luck for this Kauhoff Dietz racing machine. It looked pretty quick, but hasn't been able to put himself in a good spot to keep the truck clean, and really need a clean truck to run up front. When you get this kind of damage, it just totally destroys the handling, and makes it obviously a lot more difficult to drive and they run at pace. So still see lights on the pace car. We talked about Austin Runkle up 23 spots. He, the second biggest mover behind Derek Fulton in that number 17. Look at that. Major's Garage truck filling in for the full-time driver of that 17. You know that 17's fast. He was up there and racing for wins earlier this season. Not the best race at Martinsville. Obviously, that 17 was parked at Martinsville for some intentional contact, I guess if you want to call it, under caution, caution pace laps, and was disqualified from Martinsville. So they have Derek Fulton in there in the 17, trying to make some laps, trying to get some points out of that number 17 for that Major's Garage team. But good on him, up 29 spots from when he started. Looks to maybe gain some more. So look out for that 17 to make some moves. Once again, 77, 97 Pro Row. As we're green once again here, going to lap 88 of 200 here at Bristol. See, oh, the 97 into the wall. 42 is going to try to take advantage side by side, but give it to this 97. And you have to give credit where credit's due. This 97 is on 90 lap tires and really holding his own here in the P2 position, trying to hold back this 42 and everybody behind. But it is allowing Zachary Trevino to slowly pull away with this race lead. Obviously, John has a fast truck, but he's got, 90 lap tires and probably can't drive it as hard as some of these guys would like to. His caution is out once again. Matthew Fastnot caught up in another incident. We'll see if this one was at the fall of his own, or maybe he got some contact. Oh, man. Definitely not his fault this time. Looks like the 07 of Hayden James getting upset going into turn 1 and 2. And you just see him just overdrive the corner. And what he's trying to, he's just lifting to keep it out of the wall, and then loses the rear end. Makes contact with the 19, just overcorrects up the wall and collects the 3. Collects Richard Myers in that number 93 machine as well. I believe that was him. And nowhere to go for Matthew Fastenal that time. No fault of his own, just wrong place, wrong time, and that will definitely bring out a caution. Now remember, we do have that stage caution at lap 130, so we still have like 35 laps until we get to that stage. So you figured some of these guys would maybe back it off and maybe try to save some tire until we get to that stage yellow. But everybody kind of wants to make up spots early. Try to maybe once they make up the spots and maybe get to a position they want to, maybe they'll start to settle down a little bit. But we've seen the similarities between, you know, this and Martinsville, where people are just super aggressive on these starts, and you know, cautions breed cautions, as they say. You saw the 97 take his truck down pit road. Finally decides to give up that P2 position to come down and take some good Goodyear tires. He's going to be back there outside the top 20. Outside the top 10. Looks like he's going to be back there in P11, which will hand over the second place to the 42 of Hudson's. So 42, 77, Chevy, Toyota front row. We're back green. 77 continues to just get really good jumps on the field here. But here's a battle for the P2 spot. Here comes the 17, Derek Fulton, to try to make a move for the P2 spot. Not going to make it work. Just the momentum off the top. He's going to slip back into the third position as there's a battle for, looks like, this fourth place spot. You see the 98 of Caleb Begg trying to make his way up through the field. I haven't really seen him up here in the top 5 at all. But he's trying to race that number 31 of Zach Hummel for P5. Out of 3 and 4, maybe a little bit of contact. Give it the pummel. Everybody's starting to get single file out here. See John Connor trying to drive his way through the field with those fresh, it's a little bit fresher tires. I mean, technically everybody out here has 30 laps on those tires, but granted, probably, you know, I would say 10 of them are under green flag conditions versus this 97 with freshies, and you can already see that he needs to get those tires warmed up. He looks pretty loose and out of control. So, the 28, that's Jonathan Ledger trying to make up some spots. Now they're going to be 3 wide. It's Caleb Sheets trying to make way. So, Caleb Sheets gets turned. We saw that in the background of that shot. Let's go ahead and rewind it here. You saw Caleb, that truck not driving right, and unfortunately just kind of gets loose and nowhere to go for the 15. I mean, that's just the definition of a racing deal. And you see the 92, Jeremy T-Bond, come down and make contact. Nowhere to go for him. Corey Mott gets in the back end of the 26. Just nowhere to go for some of these drivers once again. I mean, Bristol will do that to you. And see some of these drivers trying to check up. And they'll get everything sorted out here. But unfortunate for that number 26. I know Caleb, I raced with him back in the Cup Series back in the day and was super competitive. And unfortunately, I hate to see him, you know, struggling here at the last great Coliseum. But I mean, Bristol's a beast in its own right, and I mean, people struggle. You see that 26 coming down pit road, and maybe get some damage fixed. We see some fans of the 32, Joe Gibbons. And that's number 76 machine, actually. This 32 in the live timing scoring, but you see that Rick and Morty machine. Really brightly accented truck. This might be a Lucky 7 machine. It looks like it has the paintwork of a Lucky 7 truck. Maybe just a coincidence, but it's got a 7. It's got the same paintwork. You come and look at your race leader, Zachary Trevino. Now, maybe not. That's interesting to see. They have the same exact, you know, base design. You look at Noah at 71 there. Maybe I'm reaching there. Maybe it's just a 77 that has the same paint scheme, but it's getting green here. And a decent jump by the 42 this time. At least get side by side with him. And whoa, super loose by the 42. What a save to keep that truck underneath them. And we have some more lap traffic. Caleb Sheets right in front of the leaders. Let's see how they navigate this 26. Everybody's going to get around Caleb pretty decently here. Caleb doing his best to keep that truck under control. Looks like Caleb's going to take that truck to pit road. Still needs to fix the handling of that. But everybody's single file once again, probably throughout the top 8. Really, everybody's single file throughout. Everybody's starting to figure out that maybe if we go green here, maybe they can actually race their way up to the front. So they're trying to just jump these restarts and take advantage here. See some trucks up in the wall here. Noah Hunt up into the wall as well. I think Hummel got into the wall. There, you see the 45 jump to the bottom. Trying to take away this P6 spot side by side going into turn 3 and 4. Hunt trying to make that slide job work. He's going to clear the 31. Debunking the wall right behind them. And the 45 is going to try to take off and try to run down this next little pack of Caleb Began and Blake Roebuck. We have a battle for the lead. 42's using that top to get a run off the top to try to catch up to this number 77 of Trevino. And man, if you're Jacob Quilly, you're sitting back here and you just have a wide smile on your face. Like, obviously we know Trevino's a quick driver and we know that 77 is quick. But to come out here and just basically run like Jacob would be in here is got to feel good for that team. The 42, the newcomer, Hudson, has shown that he is going to be up here and he is going to race. He might not be in contention for the playoffs now with how many races are left in the regular season, but he's shown that he has speed with that Chevy. That TF56 Designs machine is quick and is trying to run down this leader. You see the 17, Derek, kind of sitting back there in the 3rd place spot, just riding, it looks like, trying to hope that this 42 goes wheel to wheel with the 77 to get him here. Once again, catching lap track, that's the 71. Noah Nicholson is, the 71 gets loose, trying to get around the lap car, and here comes the 42 to take the lead. Last time we saw this 42 take the lead, he started to pull away from the field. So, looks like that truck is looks like it's set up pretty well for the long run. We've already ran 50 laps at least on these last set of tires. So, and we have a stage caution here at lap 130 or lap 135. So you might start to see this 42 start to pull away here. You see his strength is this long run. You can't really keep up with the 77 with these restarts and stuff. But as soon as we start to get some laps on our belt, you start to see this 42 show off its strength. But to see the 17 chase down your P2 driver is just Zachary Trevino. Maybe the handling going away of this 77. Seen him dominate the race, but as soon as we start to get these longer runs, the handling just starts to go away as we have a caution out on track. That might have been for the stage. We'll take a look to see if there's any wrecks around us. Yeah, that's the 240. Just losing the back end. You see that rear end damage, and we talked about this earlier in the show. Once you get that rear end damage, it really does affect the handling of the truck, especially on these long runs. It really upsets the rear, just the whole back end of that truck. There's just no grip down there. When you're trying to get into the gas, you want to get into the gas to try to make up some more lap time, and when you have that rear end damage, just the back end does not want to stay secure to the track, and you'll just loop it like that, just exactly like that 240 did. Good for him to keep it off the track and to get it down pit road out of harm's way, but that will bring out a caution. And with that said, then we're starting to see some pit strategy underway here because we're really close to that stage, really. So you see the 77 down pit road. We see that. We can find them. See Trevino coming down, taking 4 fresh tires. You see the 30 of Blake Roebuck also down pit road. Just like that, that number 11 will drop outside the top 10. He's going to be sitting there in that 11th position. But honestly, I'm not too upset about that. I mean, you lose, not even 10 spots to take fresh tires here. But also, I think you just have to baby the truck here. Do not use those tires to try to drive through the field. Maybe if you want to use them up to get a couple of stage points, maybe. But I would not use those tires trying to go up and make spots. You got to save those if you're going to stay out here at the end of the stage. That's going to hand the race lead back to the 42, and the 17 and Derek Fulton's going to round out your front row. You see the 45 and the 6 you fast 4. Going to be a Chevy lockout on the front row, and then Chevy Toyota second row. And we're back green here, trying to end this stage 2. Great jump by the 42. 17 also gets clear. You're going to see Ferreira with the run off the top. 42 is going to, that 45 is going to block that run. Crossover from the 6. Not going to make anything happen of it. To the 45 in the wall. That's going to allow Jarrett to maybe try to make this bottom work. Not quite. 3 to go here in this stage 2. The 01 of Bunkley trying to just stay locked. Oh, 3 wide here. Not going to work. Surprised to see him trying to make that move. But you see Bunkley blinking out once again. Ferreira in the 45 still side by side for this P4 position. Side by side here, you see the 77 trying to make some moves here. This is where the racing's at. Back here for this P3 and beyond spot. They're coming back to the 42. Coming around. And he's going to win stage 2 as well. So 42 sweeps the stages here at Bristol. And looking pretty dominant. Obviously, he's going to have to come down and take some tires as well as most of the field. Noah Hunt actually coming up through the field with some freshies. No, my apologies. Zachary Trevino, though, comes out here with the top 6 in the stage. And we know he's going to stay out here with those fresher tires. So good for him to, at least sneak up there and get some, and steal some stage points away from some of those guys with the older stuff. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break and let our friends over at iRacing share their knowledge and let's hear a word from our friends over at iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
So I apologize for the sound difficulties. Apparently my mic came unplugged from the streaming PC, but we're back green here, going to lap 154 of 200. 77 gonna lead us back to green. Good job by the 77, and now we're battling for this P2 spot. That 42 is under caution again. Like Dominic Lee slow. I don't think he was involved in a crash, but he probably has a good view of it. Let's take a gander and see what happened. Oh, so he was the caution. I'm sorry. I mean, commentator's curse maybe. Looks like the 6, that is Ferreira. Just maybe trying to race hard. Gets up there, cooks the 19 down the track, and unfortunately the 19 kind of gets shot back up the track here, and a lot nowhere to go for some of these drivers. You see, oh man, the 89, the 76, the 22 get caught up in there. We know we have some fans of that number 76 of Joe Gibbons. Looks like not too much damage to that 76, which is good. You see him coming down pit road though, trying to get that fixed as much as we can. Once again, if you're interested in racing in the Crown Jewel community, obviously they did make some new rules with a iron cap of 4750. So if you do have above that, unfortunately, deemed too good to fit here for the Crown Jewel community. But if you are interested in racing here in the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, the ARCA Series, or even up there in the big boys with the Cup Series, make sure to join the Crown Jewel community Discord. I can post that in the YouTube chat for everybody. Let's her back off on the pace car, which means we're going to be going green this time by. As Acri Trevino continues to dominate here at Bristol Motor Speedway. You see him leading 127 of 159 laps complete. So I mean, and I feel like there's only been a couple of more drivers that have led here besides there. But you see 77-42 and we're back green. Good jump by the 77-42. Kind of got caught sleeping a little bit. There's some contact between the 45 and the 42. You see a lap car. It's a 22 trying to get out of the way. So the 01's going to kind of get caught back there. The 01 dumps the lap car. I think that was intentional, but as we reckon back there in the back, due to that whole calamity, we know we saw that coming. We're going to try to find that 22 machine because this is where it all started with. See if we can find this driver. Trying to figure out who that lap car was, but let's go right on board with Caleb Begg. Looked like he had a fast truck, but you see that slow truck from getting put up into the wall by the 01 and it just checks up this whole line up here. You see them go 4 wide trying to make it work, and then you just see nowhere to go. He hooks the lap car up into the 21. The 6 goes around. The 97 goes around. That was a really fast truck in that number 97. And just nowhere to go. I mean, and that was just at fault of Richard just running in the back of that lap car, slowing him down, and then it just kind of an accordion effect, right? Because of the 22 getting slowed down and wrecked, it caused a huge checkup back here towards the back of the field, and it's going to take out a bunch of fast trucks because of it. Zachary Trevino coming back down pit road. Gonna take a set of 4 fresh Goodyear tires. See the 6 of Ferrera just got caught up in that wreck coming down pit road as well. See a little bit of scuffing right behind that 6, right on that SNG logo. And there goes the 77. He's gonna drop back to only P5, so honestly, I don't blame him. If you're gonna lose that little spots, I don't blame you for coming down and taking some tires. Zach Hummel appears to be back. Man, I'm interested to see what this 77 can do back here. Fresh Goodyear tires, granted. It's not too much of a tire difference, but see the 42 lead us to green. You see the 01 of Bunkley. He was really the sole cause of that last wreck, just running in the back of the lap car. But you see him gonna be the front row of that outside. So let's see how good of a jump he can get here. That Waffle House machine. And man, not the best jump for the 01. The 42 is going to jump out here. Got a huge lead out on the start. Carl Field, newcomer to the top 3. He's going to try to battle for the P2 position coming out of 4. This caution comes out once again. You see the 5 machine. That's of Jim Mott. Looks like he's tore up a little bit. Let's take a look and see what transpired here in the back. It just looks like Jim. I mean, when you have a tore up truck like that, it's easy to just lose the truck, and loses it. You see the 88 of Tyler Bellinger, nowhere to go as well. He's going to get caught up in that wreck. Not a whole lot of damage to that 88, but obviously would rather not be in a wreck at all. But looks like that truck's pretty clean. But caution's going to be out here once again. Going to 30 to go here at Bristol. And now you're getting into that territory, right? Do you stay out now, even if like you are the leader of Hudson with 30 lap old tires versus Zachary Trevino, who's now up to the P4 spot with freshies, right? Do you try to hold on? You know, especially if you're for this 42, you know you have a pretty decent long run pace truck. But we're going to green with 30 to go. That's not really I would say a long run here at Bristol with how fast you're running laps here. Do you take that gamble now and come down and take fresh tires now? Or do you just try to ride along and hope for the best, right? Hope for cautions, hope for situations to maybe prevent the 77 from getting to you, right? He's got 25 lap fresher tires. You know he's quick on the short run, which is what we're going to have now with that caution coming out. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers play their cards and how aggressive they're willing to be to, you know, get this track position back. How aggressive the 77 is going to be to try to get back up to the lead, right? Obviously, he's not that far, but I mean, we've seen some pretty egregious stuff by that 77 machine. Granted, Zachary's in the truck tonight, not a Jacob Quill, but I'm interested to see what transpires here in the last 30 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Race car going down pit row now. 4201 Chevy front row. Toyota locks out the second row, and we're green once again. Once again, not the best start from the 01, which is going to allow the 15 to get side by side going out of turn 1 and 2. Once again, side by side, but the top will prevail here. And here comes the 77 on the outside, trying to take away that P3 position. '77, 15, side by side, going into 3 and 4. I mean, and this top is just rolling right now. It's super hard to be defensive on the bottom. There's nothing you can really do. As caution's out once again. You see Mason Hoffner, and he was that lap car. Now that we found him, that is the 600 in the sim. Like he's just gonna lose control of the truck and loop it around. It looks like the 88 actually gets upset in front of him. So that's the 88 of Tyler Bellinger. My apologies. He's just gonna lose the rear end on entry, and fortunately nowhere for Mason to go. And around goes the 600 machine. Well, now we should be going green with about, what, 22 to go, 21 to go. So now, I would consider, 30 laps a kind of decently sized run. But now we're going to be going with 20-ish to go. I mean, now it's time to go. And there's nothing you can really do. Now you have Zachary Trevino. He's now up to the 3rd place spot, right? So if he can get a good jump, we've seen historically now with these last 2 restarts, this 01 just, I don't know if he's spinning the tires or maybe just has been caught sleeping every time, has not had the best restarts. And now you have the 77 who's going to be starting behind the leader. I mean, he might be able to take this P2 spot away before we even get in the complete the outlap when we restart this race. And then it's going to be between the 42 and the 77 to potentially battle it out for the win. And now it's how long can Hudson hold on, right? There is no long run for tire saving now. It's go time. 24 to go at Bristol is not that long. Like if this race goes green, our timing and scoring prediction says we should be done in about 8 minutes. So if it goes green, obviously, which is crazy to think about. Like, we have 23 to go, right? What do you think about it? I mean, we're running 14-second lap times. I mean, that'll do it. It's, we're going pretty quickly around this Bristol Motor Speedway. This car's off again, and now once again, Chevy front row, 01, 42, 77, 31. You're fast for and another great jump by the 42. Trevino's easily going to try to look for this P2 spot. Run up top. And look at that 77. Drive it deep into the corner. But because of that, he is going to lose out on the exit speed. What he's trying to do is trying to beat this 01 on entry, but has not been able to do it. 01 and 77 now, side by side for this P2 position. Give the advantage to the 01. And here comes the 45 to try to sneak his way to the top. And now you're starting to see now. Doesn't matter if you have fresher tires. Shows really how disadvantaged you are on the bottom. 77 has the freshest tires in the field and cannot do anything to try to get around these guys who are ripping the wall. His caution's out once again. You see the 600 of Hoffner once again slow down there on the apron. We'll see what happened to this number 22 machine. At least that's what we're gonna call it, the 22, guys. What's on the truck. So regardless of what timing and scoring says. Yeah, just it looks like you lose those on exit here. Gonna come down. Smack the inside wall. Whoa! See the wall actually grab the rear end of that truck and around it goes. And that will do it for that. That will definitely cause a caution, especially with how slow he is on the apron there. Regardless of he was, you know. I mean, this is exactly what Hudson wants to see in this number 42 machine. And he probably, you know, learned a valuable lesson in that restart. He saw that probably his biggest competition in that 77 could not pass on the bottom. He could not get around the 01, and he even got passed by the 45 on the top. So he knows that the guy with the precious tires and probably the guy who was probably going to race him for this win cannot do anything on the bottom, right? So as long as that 77 continues to get pinned down there, this 42 could potentially run away with it. But granted, the 77 is starting on the top this time. He is in the P4 position. There is no choose cone for Bristol. So this might be a good spot for this 42 to kind of start to pull away and maybe become the clear favorite to win this race. And you talk about an underdog story. This guy comes in here. This is his first race of the season with that TF56 Designs machine, and is coming out here, and he might steal a win away from these guys who are racing for the playoffs. So like we had the 30, he was our favorite too in the booth to win this race, and fortunately Blake just hasn't had the speed to go up there and race in the top 5 all race. But granted, he is sitting back there in that 9th place position, 8th place position. He's still gonna have a good points day, but just hasn't had the race winning speed. Once again, Chevy front row, 0142. Now going to 14 to go here at Bristol. A great jump by the 45. Not going to be able to get clear the 01. That top is just so good. You see the 45, 01 contact. 01 into the wall, 45 side by side. Still can't make anything of it. The 01 is really doing a good job wrapping the wall, though. Even though he is getting in the wall, he's kind of wall popping, is what they kind of call it, and getting a good run off, right? If you wall pop and get off at the right time, you can actually be just a teeny bit faster, and that's what you're seeing that one do. He's getting really up a lot closer to the wall than you see the 42 doing. Even to the 77, he's getting a great run off exit, but still side by side for the P2 spot. Wow, a super sideways is the 01 of Richard Bunkley. And that gives that 42 a little bit of a cushion, because everybody behind this 01 had to check up to let him save that machine. See, the 77 is going to clear the 45. And now what can the 77 do? Has the freshest tires. Here comes Jared Ferreira on those fresh tires. Oh! The 6 is going to dump the 45. And caution will wave. As you hear an engine expire. We saw that live as well. We'll take a look and see. Let's go into the cockpit of that number 6 machine. I don't know. Maybe he got a little tight, or if maybe there's just, you know, I'm trying to race to get back up there. Let's go back and hear if you tried to lift for this driver at all. I don't think it sounds purposeful. We'll go on another onboard with this number 6 and Let's go to the far chase. This is probably the best way to judge a wreck. It sounds like he definitely didn't lift, but I don't think he meant to do it. It just sounds like he expected there to be a little bit more room. You see the 45 not up against, I mean, I don't know. That's a hard call if you're trying to dictate whose fault that is. It just looks like a racing deal. But regardless, that will bring out the caution. And now we're going to have a little 5-lap shootout for this win if we go green. And once again, Bunkley been able to hold on to this P2 spot. Granted with the blinking and granted with the bad restarts. He's been able to hold on to the second place spot. So props to him for, you know, keeping everybody behind him besides that 42, of course. This 42 has been having really, really good restarts and giving himself a huge advantage. Getting onto the power here. Because obviously he dictates when we start the race. He gets to choose when he gets to step on the gas and nobody has to react to him. And it's super hard for anybody, especially the guy on the in second place, to react to that without giving himself a penalty. So credit where credit's due. You know, Richard is doing a pretty good job keeping at least this P2 spot, because it's super hard to, especially at these short tracks where when you get on the power, you go. So I'll give credit where credit's due. You know, Richard's doing a pretty good job at least keeping the track position right now and trying to give himself at least an opportunity to go maybe race down that 42 to steal this race win from him. But the pace car is going to take that hard left turn once again. 142, 77, and now to 6 up the P4. Going to lead us back to green. Do some blinking by the 01. That's going to make it really difficult for the 77 to try to make a move here. We have a truck spinning in the back. That was the 15 at Carl Field. We caught that on. Thank you, the 42 team, for allowing us to put that gearbox cam on this truck. We see the 15 getting upset there, coming into turn 1 and 2. I mean, you just saw him. He was loose all the way out from turn 3 trying to save the truck, and fortunately ran out of racetrack in enough time to save it. He might have gotten a little bit of help, actually, from the 31. Let's go to the 31 of Zach Hummel. Let's go on this nose cam. See if he made some contact and maybe help loosen up this 15 a little bit. Oh, yeah, he definitely got some help. Zach said, I mean, this is just racing at the end there. You're racing for every spot you can, and see him getting in the back of the 15. And around goes the 15 and back there behind there. You saw him door the 31 a little bit, trying to save it. And you see a lot of, you know, damage to where the number area is on that left side of the truck, but I don't think that was intentional with the 31, but also, you know, you're racing for, you know, that extra position, right? And he kind of came up and tried to do a slide job, got in the back end, just unfortunately put that 15 in a really bad spot. And with that being said, that means we're going to go into NASCAR overtime here in the VRS Trucks Series. So people that don't know how this overtime works, we have, I'm pretty sure we have 3 green, white, checkered attempts. It's either green or unlimited. No, we have unlimited green, white, checkered attempts. So we can go all night if we need to. And basically, the only rules is you need to get to the white flag. And once the white flag waves, it's all men for themselves. It's not like an IRL NASCAR where if we get to the white flag and there's a wreck, the race is called right there. In iRacing, just because there is not really a safety issue about keeping the drivers safe and everything else, when we get to the white flag, it's whoever gets to the line first wins the race. There's no, they don't call it you know, halfway through the lap or whatever. But also, if we don't make it to the white flag, we'll just keep restarting until we get to the white flag. So, this could be our last restart, or this could be our, or we could be here for a while. So, the pace car is gonna make that hard right turn, and we're overtime racing here at Bristol. Great jump by the 77. Wow, 77 is going to get to the inside of the 42. 77 a little bit loose. White flag in the air. This will call it right here. Oh, one with the run off the top. You're going to be side by side with the 77. That's going to stall those two out. And just like that, coming out of turn 3 and 4, Hudson Sangster is going to come out here and steal a win at Bristol. What a race. And what a win for this young driver. Well, I wouldn't say young. We don't actually know the age of Hudson, but what a way to come out here in your series debut and come out here and lead basically the last 50 laps of the race and really show. I mean, he definitely sent a message to everybody else out here in the field that he is someone to be looked at as a favorite. You'll see that 42 DF56 Designs machine burn it down here at the start finish line. He's going to park it right there in victory lane. And we'll get ready to talk to your top 3 finishers, but first, we're going to continue to watch this 42 potentially burn it down here, maybe doing some burnouts with the teammate, maybe. I'm unsure. We might have just lost the sim, which is fine. We'll just do a little slow-mo here. And we're going to go through and do a quick commercial break and let our friends from iRacing talk to you guys one more time. And we'll get ready to talk to your top 3 finishers. So we'll be right back after this word from our partners over there at iRacing.
Racing isn't easy. But
We're back here from Bristol Motor Speedway for the post-race coverage of the VRS Trucks Series truck race here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the VRS Truck Series. As we're going to get ready and talk to your top 3 finishers here. Is first, let's go ahead and talk to. Well, we're trying to find Zachary Trevino here, but we do not see him. Let's go ahead and talk to your second place finisher here of Richard Bunkley. Hey, Asher, it's Christian up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Hello, hello.
Well, P2 finish for you tonight. It looked like kind of a up and down race for you, but been able to sneak out here at a top two finish. So just walk us through your race. Walk us through, those last couple of restarts, and walk us through, what it took to get you up here into this podium position.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I got really lucky. I had a great teammate, Hudson. Hell yeah, man. Good job. You know, race really up and down. Shot myself in the foot there a couple times, but in the end, I was able to get up there at the end. I'm really proud of the way I was able to defend everybody else off there at the end.
Yeah, you definitely did a good job. We definitely documented it. You didn't really have the best job of on the restarts, but it's super hard to kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, man, me and Hudson tried to time it. It's like I don't really got that. I really just need to build trust with my teammate. It's more of that kind of issue. Like, I tried my best. I was like, okay, he's gonna go early. He's gonna go early, and he's like, wait, fuck, he's not going early. Then he just goes, and I'm like, oh wait, we're going.
Exactly. It's super hard, especially as that P2 driver to judge when they're gonna go without, jumping the start or checking up the top lane. But still, as you said, you did a really good job defending the top. You did a really good job just running the wall in general. We noticed that,
Yeah,
especially on these starts, those last couple laps, they were just really hard to make anything happen on the bottom.
yeah, it's like so many just rough. Like, I feel like this entire season in trucks, man, it's always been just same story. Good race, around uh P19 to P like 8, and then it would fall apart near the end, and I wouldn't get what I think I could have gotten. It's just like it's really nice to have one go my way for once.
No, I definitely agree. You've definitely shown some speed here and there, and have been caught up in numerous stuff. So it's always nice to see,
Yeah.
you know, something go, a driver's way, and it definitely did for you, especially when you got up to the front. You really never gave it back up.
Yeah, the only like thing, like, there's always like a what if, but like the only what if for me is just I wish I had at least like 10 green laps, green flag. I just wish I had 10 laps to set up a move,
Yeah, I definitely
because
agree.
it's like they put me in my worst position, which is restarts, and it's like, I tried my best. I was able to get a decent one there at the end, but it's like it still wasn't enough.
No, I definitely agree. It would have set up for a interesting situation for you guys up there towards the front because it seemed like it was just who could ever, get single file first, and then it was like because
Yeah,
once you
yeah,
guys were once you guys were too wide, especially you and Zachary, it kind of allowed the 42 to get away and just run away with it. But I mean,
yeah. Of course, of course.
yeah, I agree. It would have been a good what if situation if you had a little bit a little bit more time to maybe get to Hudson up there and maybe try to race for the win.
I had an opportunity to take it inside. Like, I think it was like lap around, it was early 190s, late 180s. I had an opportunity to get to the inside. I just didn't take it, honestly. I was like, okay, there's plenty of time, I think I'm in my mind, I guess I thought it's going to stay green. I have another chance, and I'm not going to screw over my teammate this early.
Yeah, exactly. Especially racing a teammate in Hudson, right? I mean, you kind of do have to
Yeah,
give him
yeah,
the benefit of the doubt, and
yeah.
you know at least keep you
You know,
guys in
and
contention.
yeah, he raced me great, man. Like we worked together pretty well in there in the restarts. We really everybody at Calhoff, Deitch Racing, we all did great today. Fortunately, Fastna and Deitch himself, they both got into some trouble there, but they made what they could, and they both were able to recover at least a bit.
Yeah, we saw Michael get caught up in a couple of wrecks, but that's just how it is when you're back there
Yeah.
outside the top 15, you know, just nowhere to go, especially at Bristol. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
when
yeah, of course, of course. I was pretty lucky. I never really got, I think the worst I felt was like 15th. I got really lucky in where I just never really, like by the time I was starting to fall back from just bad luck on like, especially like with damage and stuff, it was already when everybody was basically lapped. So it was just like 13th. The furthest I would just fall was like 13th, you know?
Yeah, I feel like track position was really key to at least keeping your truck clean,
Yeah.
right? I mean, obviously we had
Yeah, no,
some.
I was trying my best. Whenever I would get sent back, I was complaining. I was just getting boxed in so much, man. You know, like if you're 1 and 2, you have so much more leeway compared to everybody else in the field. It feels like.
No, I agree. I mean, it seems like once you were kind of in that safety zone, it was pretty easy to at least stay up there towards the front and keep your truck clean. There's
Yeah,
a couple of incidences where, you know, it
I
was
will
up
say
towards the front.
I never really understood why people were pitting for tires. Like we never had that long of a green flag run to where tires really got hurt all that bad.
Yeah,
You know?
I definitely agree. You know, we probably went at most of what 30 laps. It was our
Yeah,
longest
yeah,
run, so it was definitely an interesting call. But we saw, you know, Zachary take those tires and drive his way
yeah.
up to the
I
field.
mean,
So
they still, to be fair to them, they still finished in the top five. So
yeah,
you know.
granted, you know, I felt like track position was more important, but
Yeah, I agree as well.
you saw Zachary drive up to the top three. You saw Jarrett drive up to the top four. So I mean,
Yeah,
everybody has
super good.
their.
Yeah, super good shit by him as well. You know, like everybody at the end there, they're all racing so nice. You know, everybody really just, it was just beautiful racing there at the end. Unfortunately, a lot of cautions, you know, really just kept me from doing anything at all.
Yeah, that's definitely Bristol for you, but uh, we still have to go and interview Zach and your teammate there.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
before we let you go, anybody you want to shout out? Anybody watching at home? Any sponsors or anybody you want to thank for this P2 finish?
You know what? I want to thank my papa. In late 2019, uh, he was babysitting me, and he introduced me to NASCAR, really. And you know, hey, it's been a wild ride since.
Yeah, I feel like that's, you know, always the good stories is right when you know you have a family or even if it's a friend, you know, introduce you to the sport and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
snowball, right? It's snowball effect. So that's super cool that you shouting out your dad and stuff. But I'm gonna go
yeah.
ahead and let you go down and celebrate with your teammates and do whatever you do after these races. And but once again, congratulations on this P2 finish, and hopefully we can talk to you soon.
Oh yeah. See you later.
Yep. And that was Richard in '01. It says Asher in the Discord, so I don't know if maybe it's just different names on different accounts. But regardless, P2 finisher. Looks like we have Zachary Trevino back in here. Let's go ahead and talk to him. I think this is Zach. Let me triple check. I don't want to drag in the wrong person. I think this is him. Go ahead and talk to him. Hey Zach, it's Christian up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, pretty dominating race for you. I mean, leading, let's see, 132 to 205 laps, but you know, it looked like you came down and decided to take those tires, and unfortunately, just couldn't get your way back up to the front. So, walk us through your race and maybe tell us what you needed a little bit, what you needed to do differently to maybe get up there and race that 42 for the win.
Yeah, no, we definitely started off strong on the pole. Had a strong truck all day. After that first cycle, after stage one, had to make some adjustments. It was too loose. And then came back in after stage two, made more adjustments. I'd say if we made the truck more looser on stage three, we would have definitely had the chance to be up there. But I was just plowing tight at the end, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it looked like looking at those last couple of restarts, it looked like I don't know if the track had changed or if it was just the way the the trucks have driven all night, but it just looked like the bottom you just really couldn't use it to make up spots. It seems like even with you with those fresher tires, you couldn't really make passes on the bottom. You're kind of just kind of stuck where you were, and you did finally get up to P3 after restarting on the top on that last green white checkered restart. But walk us through what was going through your head in that kind of scenario.
Yeah, no, Jacob, he was my crew chief, Jacob Quill. He told me the track was changing all throughout the race, so we couldn't really tell what was going on. Yeah, in that final part, I really just kind of lost hope there. The truck was really, really tight. So, but congratulations to the guy in first. He won all the stages. So,
Yeah, Hudson had a pretty out. He came out here. I think this is his first race in the VRS Truck Series, so really pulled out all the stops to show that he's someone to definitely look at here. But even for you, I mean, came out here, led more than half the lap, so you can't really be upset about that. But going into next week, I don't know who's going to be in the truck next week, but are you what are you guys looking forward to for that?
yeah, no, I'll still be in the truck. But yeah, next week we're just gonna try to go in. What I think next week is Dega, but I don't think we can. I mean, Dega's unpredictable, so we're just gonna go try and win it. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good answer. I mean you said it like Dega. Next week is Rockingham for you guys, by the way.
Oh,
For the
Rock.
for the Easter weekend race. You guys and the Xfinity Series will be racing next week at Rockingham. But yeah, I mean talking about Dega, it can be. I mean it's kind of out of your hands there. Obviously, you guys have teammates and stuff that with the lucky seven guys who can help you guys out. You guys are really lucky to have teammates. Some of these guys don't, but um, looking into Rockingham, I mean, is there anything, any strengths or weaknesses you have going to that track that you might know of from prior experience?
Oh no, I'm really good at Rockingham, so I think I can maybe get the pole again. We're gonna definitely try to actually win that race, but I just want to thank Cameron for signing me to the truck because he just went in blind and just trusted me. So, but yeah, we're just gonna try to go win it next week again. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the good mindset. I mean, this 77's been quick all season, so it's a good mindset to be in. Thinking you can go in there and doing that, but. I guess we're gonna go and let you go celebrate, regroup, and get ready for Rockingham. But once again, congratulations on this P3 finish, and we will hopefully talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
Yep. That was Zachary Trevino, your P3 finisher, and let's go and talk to the man of the hour, Mr. Hudson, and that number 42 machine.
Oh, and I'm yanked.
Hey, Hudson, it's Christian up here in the HPTV booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Well, definitely pretty interesting race for you. Obviously, I'm pretty sure this is your first race here in the VRS Truck Series, so uh, I guess the best debut you can have here if coming out here, being competitive, and then coming out here and winning here at Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super proud. Yeah, it is my first start. I didn't even know if I was gonna be racing tonight, and it's definitely a fun first start for sure. I haven't been at Calhoff Dodge Racing for too long, but it was awesome to get a 1-2 for the guys, especially with Truex fan on the hood. He makes some awesome designs, so it was a fun one.
Yeah, we looking at the truck now, and I agree. Very nice looking truck, and that you got underneath you. But talking about the race, it seemed like that 77 might have been the truck to beat early, but it seemed like when the long run came around, you slowly, consistently, always kind of reeled him in and gave him pressure and got around him on the long run. So was that just something that you knew, or was that just something that you just kind of developed with throughout the races, just figuring out that you just had a little bit more, I guess, probably handling than the 77 when you guys actually got to that portion of the race?
Yeah, I mean, my goal going into the race was just to make the race, and then obviously there was some chaos with the whole community today, and so that kind of stirred things up. But once I qualified towards the front, I qualified 10th, and then it's just once I got to the front, I knew I had the car or truck to beat, and I knew he was giving me my competition, and then he had new tires towards the end, and I thought he'd get me, but I knew we started off, and I didn't fire off well on my tires at all, and I was just really loose. I almost wrecked a couple times, but once we got into the longer run, like you said, I knew I could reel him in, and it was just me first 2 stages, I was really just practicing. I was just making them practice sessions, saving the tires, and seeing what moves worked and whatnot. And then he got by me a couple times, and I would just wait for him to make a mistake and just be patient, and it worked out.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of the difference, in my opinion, between you and some of these other guys. You seemed like you methodically, made your moves and figured out when you need to be aggressive, when you need to make the move, versus some guys who, as soon as they got to a guy, they would try to race him hard, use their stuff up, or even cause a wreck in some occasions. Versus you, who, kind of methodically made you move, was at least patient enough to sit behind someone until they made a mistake, or you just decided to, make a clean pass. And I feel like that's a big asset to why you were up here. And once you got the lead, why you never really gave it up.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I tried my best. I was trying to get patient into it. I knew that Bristol, I've been practicing all weekend, and I knew that it was going to be slippery and slidey, and I knew qualifying would be different than the race. And then once you got in the race, I knew it was just about saving tires, keeping the truck clean. You can't win the race if you don't have a right front fender, right? So you just got to keep it clean. I hit the wall a couple times. I got some front end damage, had to run in with another truck, and then it was just me and my teammate Asher doing it out. But I knew if I kept the truck clean, I'd be in it. And again, in the end, I was shaking, I was nervous, but just as you say, patience. I think the patience really paid off.
And what was it like, having that reassurance that you did have Asher back there, that was a teammate that isn't gonna probably dump you, race you hard for the win? Well, how much pressure does that relieve off of you, knowing that you had that 01 up there on the top, starting next to you, that isn't probably gonna dump you, that is almost kind of like a cushion between you and the 77 and the 6 and so forth?
I mean, it was nice. It was kind of difficult because I mean I haven't been at KDR for too long, but I've gotten to know him pretty well, and Asher's a great guy. It wasn't necessarily me being comfortable with knowing that like we'd race each other clean. We did race each other clean. We were talking. We were in a voice chat together, and we were talking about how to go out. We made sure to stay clean, but it was more so a fact like I knew if I didn't win it, he would win it. My only goal was to make sure that the 77 did not win it, and then he got side by side with me, and I got nervous for a second. But I mean, it played out well. I think we raced each other cleanly and well, and we did well. I think with that. It was just a lot about just as you said, it was reassuring knowing that he was there. I knew that it'd be between me and him, and either way, it'd be coming home with both of us on the podium, and it just happened to be me winning, which is awesome. Just happy we got a 1-2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially with these team-focused leagues and everything else, it's always really cool to see, these teams come home 1-2, and seeing how happy and how, cool it is to see, everybody kind of leaning on each other and being so supportive of each other. So it's super cool to see, you guys come home 1-2. It's harder than you think sometimes, especially at a track like this. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank? Shout out any friends or family, sponsors, anybody you want to thank for this victory here at Bristol?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I appreciate Henry Kaloff and Michael Deitch, for giving me the opportunity to race out here. I was working a lot with Matthew Fastnot just to get faster here. He didn't have the greatest race, but it was good working with him, and obviously Asher. And then I think Truex Fan Designs obviously for an awesome truck. It was an awesome race. It was fun. My goal was just to make the race, and then once I realized I was a front runner, I was like getting really excited, and I knew it was going to be a good race. And it was just a lot of cautions, and you just got to stay mentally in the game. It was nice. It was awesome. I had Henry on the radio with me. Henry spawned for me and helped me out with setups and stuff. And it was just I really appreciate the opportunity I've gotten. It's been an awesome team. It's an awesome group to be with.
Well, it seems like you found your place there with your team and everything else. So, and it sounds like you might be here for the foreseeable future. So, I'm gonna go ahead and let you drop down, celebrate with your team, celebrate with Asher and everything else, and hopefully we can talk to you next week, maybe in Victory Lane again over at Rockingham.
Hopefully so, man. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yep, you too, bud. That was your race winner, Hudson. Very well-spoken young man. So, looks like he might be a contender. I know he missed the first 5 races, but I don't know how the points are going to be looking. But your winner there of Hudson going to take home the victory here at Bristol. Let's go ahead and look at your race results one last time. Brought to you by High Velocity TV. We just talked to him, Hudson Sangster, your victor here at Bristol. Asher Bunkley sitting in P2. Zachary Trevino in that number 77. Gonna round out your podium with Jarrett Ferreira, your fast 4. Good recovery for him. Came down on that last caution and drove his way up to the P4 spot. Our booth pick, Blake Roebuck, comes home with the top 5. Carl Field P6, John Connor P7, Zach Hummel that 31 is going to finish P8. Jim Mott, did not talk about him at all, comes home with the top 10. That's awesome. Open driver, our top finishing open driver at that as well. Good job to Jim for that top 10 finish. And Adam Smith gonna round out your top 10. See Jonathan Ledger P11, good run for him. Mason Hoffner P12, 5 laps down. Top 15 for him. That's decent. Tyler Bellinger P13, Noah Hunt P14, Noah Nicholson P15, Dominic Lee and 19 gonna be P16. Richard Myers 17th, Michael Deitch is gonna round out P18. Caleb Sheets, not the best race for him, out early. P19, Caleb Begg gonna out your top 20. 21st, Michael Sellers with Derek Fulton and at number 17. Really quick for him. I think he had some hardware internet issues. Fortunately, had to end his race early. He's going to finish P22. P23 is Andrew Short, one of your open drivers who gets through 5 free starts here as a cup driver. He comes down here, not the finish he wants in 23rd. Austin Runkle, 24th. Joe Gibbons, 25th. You see Ryan Taft back there in 26th, and that number 86 machine. Jeremy T-Bon, Matthew Fastant, Lucas Edwards, and Nim Silva are going to round out your top 30. And then Hayden James, Corey Mott, Patrick McPeak, Hank Moore, Noah Hamilton, and Keenan Kember are going to round out your field. And then Zach Johnson, Aaron Longworth, Jay Salmon, and Rodney Roberts. D&Q'd here. Obviously, top 36 trucks get in, and I believe they did not race tonight. But from everybody over here in the HVTV studio here in Central Kansas, I appreciate everybody coming on and watching the broadcast for the Weather Guard Truck Series truck race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Once again for the VRS Trucks Series. Once again, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator here at Bristol for High Velocity TV. If you guys wouldn't mind liking the broadcast there on the YouTube side and maybe sharing the broadcast with others, I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button and just share the love and support down below. But besides that, guys, hope you guys have a great rest of the night. And congratulations to Hudson for his first victory here in the VRS Truck Series. And we'll see you guys soon. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night. And we will see you guys next week at Rockingham.